Hi everyone, today we're going to make this crochet ruffle sleeve top. I'll be making this in a size extra small, but for full written instructions there'll be a link below in the description bar. You will need aran worsted weight or 10 ply yarn, a 5mm or US H/8 crochet hook, safety pins or some stitch markers, a darning needle and some sharp scissors. Today I'm using Paintbox Yarn Simply Aran in the colour Racing Green. It's 100% acrylic. To begin, we're going to create a slip knot, and you can do this any way you like. Insert your hook into the loop and we're going to chain 74. So all you need to do is yarn over and pull through and you've made one chain. Continue until you've reached 74 chains. So now you have 74 chains, and make sure that the row of chains isn't twisted, and you're going to slip stitch into the first chain. Now you've created a loop which is your neck hole, and just double check that the chains aren't twisted. I'm now going to demonstrate two different ways you can start a round. So option 1 is to chain 3 to start each row, and I would recommend this if you're a beginner. So you just yarn over and pull through 3 times. And then we're going to double crochet in each stitch along the round. So you yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there you have a double crochet. And to show you again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Continue to place 1 double crochet into each stitch until the end of the round. Your second option is called a no turning chain. So you're going to pull up a loop roughly the height of your double crochet. Hold on tight as you yarn over, and you should have 2 loops. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. So you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. The no turning chain is quite fiddly, but if you're an advanced crocheter I would recommend it as it makes the seam less noticeable. And now you're going to double crochet in each stitch along the round. And just a reminder that the chain 3 or the no turning chain always count as a stitch. We're now at the end of row 1 and you should have 74 stitches. If you used a no turning chain, you're just going to slip stitch into that first V. If you chain 3, you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain. To start round 2, you're either going to chain 3 or do a no turning chain. And remember, both of these count as a stitch. Now double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Now we're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Double crochet into the next 4 stitches. Once you've finished your 4 double crochets, place 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Now repeat the pattern of double crochet into the next 4 stitches and then 2 double crochet into the same stitch 3 more times. So we've finished the pattern of 4 double crochet and then 2 double crochet into the same stitch. And if you look closely at the stitches, you'll see that the 2 double crochets into the same stitch create a V shape. At this point you should have 5 V's. To continue round 2, you're going to double crochet into the next 11 stitches. So we've finished our 11 double crochets and we're going to place 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And now you're going to repeat the pattern of 4 double crochets and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch 5 more times. So we've just finished the pattern of 4 double crochets and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch 5 times. To finish off the round, we're going to double crochet into the next 11 stitches and then place 2 double crochets into the same stitch. The 2 double crochets into the same stitch should be in the last stitch of the round. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch if you used a no turning chain, or into the 3rd chain of your chain 3. So we've finished round 2. You should have a total of 86 stitches, and now we're going to start round 3. So chain 3 or do a no turning chain. And now we're going to double crochet until we reach the first V. So we've just done 4 double crochets and we've reached the first V. So we're going to double crochet into the first stitch of the V. And place 2 double crochets into the second stitch of the V. Here you can see that the V's are stacked nicely on top of each other. So remember, when you reach a V, you place 1 double crochet into the first stitch and 2 double crochets into the second stitch of the V. You're going to repeat this process all the way along the round. So you're going to double crochet until you reach a V, double crochet into the first stitch of the V, and then place 2 double crochets into the second stitch of the V. At the end of the round, you'll slip stitch into the first stitch or the third chain. You should have 12 V's at the end of the round, and you're going to repeat this process until the end of round 7. So you're going to double crochet in every stitch until you get to a V, double crochet into the first stitch of the V, and then 2 double crochets into the second stitch of the V. At the end of every round, your stitch count should increase by 12. Now we're almost at the end of round 7, so I'm going to place a double crochet into the first stitch of the V, and then 2 double crochets into the second stitch of the V. In total you should have 146 stitches, and then slip stitch into the first stitch or the third chain. To start round 8, either chain 3 or do a no turning chain. And we're just going to double crochet in each stitch along the round. We're no longer increasing, so at the end of round 8 your stitch count should still be 146. Just as a reminder, in this round we place 1 double crochet in each stitch. So 1 double crochet in the first stitch of the V, and then only 1 double crochet into the second stitch of the V. At the end of this round, slip stitch into the third chain or into the first stitch. And we're going to repeat round 8 until the end of round 15. So we've finished round 15, and we're going to start round 16 either with a chain 3 or a no turning chain. For round 16, you're going to double crochet in each stitch along the round. And you're going to place stitch markers in stitches 5, 50, 78 and 123. Don't forget that the chain 3 or the no turning chain at the beginning of the round counts as a stitch. So I'm doing my last double crochet in round 16. And then slip stitch into the first stitch of the round or into the third chain. Double check that your stitches are in stitches 5, 50, 78 and 123, and then fasten off. Fold your work in half and the stitch markers should line up directly on top of each other. Turn your work so the neck is facing you, and make sure you have the side where you just fastened off on top. Insert your hook into the stitch marker closest to the seam and secure your yarn. Pull through a loop and chain 3 or do a no turning chain. Now double crochet in each stitch until the next stitch marker. Now we're at the next stitch marker, and we're going to place 1 double crochet into the same stitch as the stitch with the stitch marker. Turn your work and double crochet into the next stitch with the stitch marker. And you've created your first armhole. Double crochet in each stitch until the next stitch marker. We're now approaching the 4th stitch marker, and you're going to double crochet into the stitch with a stitch marker. Turn your work, and we're going to slip stitch into the 1st stitch of the round or the 3rd chain. Now you've made your 2nd armhole. To start your 2nd body round, chain 3 or do a no turning chain, and you're going to double crochet in each stitch along the round, and at the end of the round, slip stitch into the 1st stitch or into the 3rd chain. Repeat this round until you're 2 cm or 1 inch away from your desired length. Personally, I repeated this round 7 times. I'm almost at the end of round 9, so I'm going to slip stitch into the 1st stitch or the 3rd chain of the round. To begin round 10, chain 3 or do a no turning chain. Now you're going to double crochet 2 together. To double crochet 2 together, you yarn over, insert your hook into the 1st stitch, yarn over and pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and pull through 2. You should have 2 loops on your hook. You yarn over and you insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull through. You should have 4 loops on your hook. You yarn over and you pull through 2. You have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through 3. And now double crochet into the next stitch, and then double crochet 2 together. And now you're going to double crochet until you're underneath the 2nd armhole or sleeve of the sweater. We're now underneath the 2nd armhole / sleeve, and we're going to double crochet 2 together. And now we're going to double crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to repeat double crochet 2 together and then 1 double crochet 2 more times. And now double crochet until you're 3 stitches shy of the end of the round. So we're almost at the end of the round and we have 3 stitches left. We're going to double crochet 2 together and then double crochet into the last stitch. And then slip stitch into the 1st stitch or the 3rd chain of the round. Now we're going to finish off the body. Chain 1, and if you need to, place a stitch marker in the chain 1 just so you know where the round begins. Normally when you insert your hook into a stitch, there's a V shape comprised of 2 strands of yarn. But for this border, we're only going to be using the back loops, so when you insert your hook, you only need to pick up the back strand of yarn. We're going to slip stitch into the back loops of every stitch along the round. Keep your stitches nice and loose with even tension. If you find that this border makes the bottom of your top too tight, I'd replace the slip stitches into the back loops with normal single crochets in each stitch along the round. So we're now almost at the end of this round, and we're just going to slip stitch into the last back loop of the round, and then we're going to slip stitch as per normal into the chain 1, And now you can try on your top and see if it fits you, and if you're happy with it, fasten off. Now we've finished the body of the sweater and we can move on to the ruffle sleeves. You can now remove your stitch markers from the top. To begin your sleeves, insert your hook into any stitch along the edge of the armhole, secure your yarn and pull through a loop. To begin your round, either chain 3 or do a no turning chain. Place a double crochet into the same stitch as the no turning chain or chain 3. And now place 2 double crochets into each stitch along the round. At the end of the round, slip stitch into the first stitch or into the third chain. Now you can see that the ruffle sleeve is beginning to form. To begin the next round, chain 3 or do a no turning chain. Place 1 double crochet in each stitch along the round. At the end of the round, slip stitch into the first stitch or into the third chain. You're going to repeat this round 4 more times. So we're almost at the end of round 6 and I'm just placing in our last double crochet. Slip stitch into the first stitch or the third chain at the beginning of the round. Fasten off and repeat these steps for the other sleeve. Once you've finished your second sleeve, weave in all of your ends. You've now finished your ruffle sleeve crochet top.